The first lesson is that you don't need a lot of money. LinkedIn started with $5,000. And the idea over here is that it's really, really cheap to start a business. And by the way, LinkedIn started in 2010. Now, if I would do LinkedIn, it would cost about $1,000. So the idea is that starting a business now is a lot cheaper than before. I want to tell you a few more things about LinkedIn. Basically, we adjusted a model that works. And this is a critical thing that I recommend all of you to consider. The idea is that we've seen a few companies that were doing what we were doing in the United States, okay? And basically what we did is we took the same model, found a new market that didn't have those lessons, and implemented it there. And the idea over here is that we already knew when we started that it works, that people are willing to pay money in other markets. But this is a great validation and something that you should consider if you don't have a lot of money and you don't have a lot of room for error. Few more things about LinkedIn. We're two co-founders. We stayed together for 7 years. This is very, very important. Staying with your co-founders is critical because you're going to see that in the startup game, a lot of people quit on you in the middle of the show or in the beginning of the show. We're going to talk about this now. So the technology of LinkedIn is basically a landing page, something that is extremely, extremely easy to make. And I want to tell you that we used to have a CTO because, you know, we started a startup. And of course, when you start a startup, you're telling yourself, how can I start a startup without a CTO, someone that does the coding and everything? We had a CTO. We didn't start until we got a CTO. And the CTO quit on us 1 day after we started. That was a very traumatic experience. He sent us an email. He told us, hey, guys, I don't see this thing going very far, although it was only 1 day after, and I'm quitting. And I want to tell you that this is one of the best things that happened to us in LingoLearn, because honestly, there is no technology in LingoLearn. It's only landing pages and lots of teachers that we connect with students. So the idea is what I want to tell you, you don't always need a CTO. Although it seems like that in the startup game, you must have a CTO, it's not always the case. About the 5K, what we did, basically, we started with Joomla. We didn't know how to set Joomla. It's some kind of a WordPress template and so on. Wasted a lot of money on calls because Skype wasn't that fast, so we had to do some calls. So that's why I'm saying that a lot of the 5K today, it would cost less than 1K. So in 2010, things were a little bit more difficult, but now it's super easy. It was easy back then as well, but the idea is that if you would start a startup in 2000, you would need at least a minimum of 100,000 to get started. There would be no way of starting without the 100,000. Now, a few more things about LingoLearn. We had our first student, a paying client, in the first month. And this is very, very important for you bootstrappers, because you have to start selling from day one, kind of. We took a small loan after we saw that we can actually sell, that people were interested to buy. Only after that, we took a loan. And it was a very small loan to scale. So that's kind of, we're going to talk a little bit about loans later on. We tried to get investors. And basically, the investors told us, hey, guys, you're a business. You're not really you're a cash flow business. You're not really the next Facebook or Google. And one of the lessons that we learned from that is that investors are interested in very, very specific things. And specifically, they're not interested in businesses. They're interested in things that will make them 100 times returns. So you have to always think about, if you're wasting time on investors, do you have something that's probably going to generate 100 times returns? If not, probably no one's going to invest. So a few more things about LingoLearn. We started in 2010. We broke even in 2013. So the idea is, it's connecting to what I told you before. You need a few years to break even. And this is the normal situation. So take it into account. And by the way, in LingoLearn, we had our first investor in 2015. And all the potential investors and this investor as well were people that were either our clients or our suppliers, people that were connected to the platform. So it's interesting that sometimes the investors are coming to you when they see that you're doing a really, really good job. And basically, the summary for LingoLearn, in the end of the day, if I could sum it up and it's still running today and it's doing great, I started StartupBlink because it's actually stable, is that the daily grind, you just, on LingoLearn, and this is just like LingoLearn, you just show up every day, work, 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 work until it clicks, basically.